So in terms of priorities and where to prioritize from a cybersecurity perspective, it really comes down to difference from business to business. I mean, the priorities that one business has is going to be different than another. And it's really not necessarily looking at, the technology, but it's really looking at the business and what is your critical data, what is the critical assets that you want to protect, and what are the things that are the biggest potential threats to your environment that will then dictate where you want to prioritize. And so, once you've kind of identified those, you can then look at, for the business, how do I bring in some semblance of organization to prioritizing what gets done first. And so there's lots of different frameworks and models out there. NIST has developed a model which has 5 key areas to focus on, from identify to detect to protect and respond and recover. And so you should look at all of those as they apply to your business and to the priorities. And you also want to look at things, again, from an overall business perspective, or what are the critical aspects of my business? Do I have specific regulatory and compliance requirements? And that may dictate what are my priorities from a cybersecurity perspective. Do I need to have cybersecurity insurance? Is that a requirement for my business? And if so, maybe my insurance company is requiring me to have specific security elements in place. And so that may be my priorities. Or am I doing work for a lot of very large organizations, and those organizations may have compliance requirements that they dictate to me, and because I want to continue to do business with them, those may be a priority. So all of those things really come into play when you're looking at how do I prioritize my overall cybersecurity program, and how do I actually implement something that makes sense. And then once you've outlined all of those elements, again, you can look to bring in some expertise to really help you to define, okay, once you know where your critical data is, or what your critical systems are, or what your requirements are, what are the possible solutions that are available out there? And so there's lots of great organizations to partner with, and there's lots of information that's available online as well in terms of different ways and different approaches to looking at security. But it will be different from business to business. I mean, if you have an organization that has a lot of employees that have access to your digital information, then you really may want to focus on something like security training, because you want to make sure that all of your employees have at least a minimal level of awareness. Whereas if you have an organization that maybe is doing a lot of e-commerce and has a lot of business online, and so your website is really the vast majority of your business, then keeping your website up and running and secure, that may be your biggest priority. Manufacturing companies, they may have their own set of priorities in making sure that their supply chain is secure. And so you really do need to look at, how do I focus it on my business, and what are my priorities that I really need to focus on. Sometimes organizations just don't have a very good sense of even where to start, and they don't know of any particular regulatory frameworks or compliance frameworks that they need to follow, and so they're just looking for somewhere to start. And if you're not sure where to prioritize, I would say, even if you at least look at some, basic hygiene, and again, the priority of these may depend on organization to organization, but, having some sort of basic security controls in place, things like, next generation firewalls and email security and VPNs in place, having some level of security monitoring in your environment, or an MDR service, or some level of endpoint protection, at least next generation endpoint protection is really, really critical. Looking at using two-factor authentication, and also, I had mentioned before, but security training for your employees so that they all have an awareness. All of those are really, really great places to start. And then if you've got those things in place, where to go from there and what to enhance. Again, bringing in a security expert is usually a good idea to sort of look at, how do I take my organization to the next level, and where should I be prioritizing, and what are some of the frameworks that I should be looking at for my organization. And a good security subject matter expert can help organizations to achieve that.